Today, on Starfield Essentials, I return to a mod that I briefly mentioned upon release. This time, I explore all the alternative endings and find the bonus content. This is Escape by Bethesda Game Studios, available for 500 credits on creations. I'll give an overview, warnings, my conclusion, and bonus gameplay spoilers. My name is Richard. Let's get started. Overview. Escape is an achievement-friendly creation. I began the creation by visiting the Astral Lounge on Neon. There I met an NPC who caught my attention.
Excuse me, would you be interested in participating in a psychological study? It will require a small investment of your time as well as temporary storage of your belongings. However, in exchange you will be compensated handsomely. Unfortunately, I can't reveal that without tainting the results of the trial.
After agreeing to participate in the experiment, I had to head into orbit. There I found a ship called Project Mammon. I docked with the ship. After docking with the ship, I entered, found a computer that gave me some more details about what was happening with Project Mammon. I had to accept the invitation and agree to lose all my valuables. They would be returned after the end of the experiment. And as we can see, the word mammon comes from the post-classical Latin, meaning wealth. So here I am accepting the invitation, and my consent is acknowledged. And now we will see what happens once you have accepted.
New participant identified. Locking down module. Initiating departure sequence. Deploying neural disruptor. Spooling grav drive. Please remain still while the procedure initiates. Welcome to Project Mammon. We apologize. Any inconvenience you experienced in your transport? The object of the study is simple. Escape from the station. If you are having difficulty departing a specific area, the computer will provide hints.
The door's
At a
locked,
cost.
but we can talk through the window.
Please consult the console if you have any further questions.
Here I met Ava, who appeared to be another participant in the experiment.
So you're up. Wasn't sure if you were dead or just a core. But you're not looking too worse for wear. How you feeling? That's normal. The disorientation should last a little longer, but if you got what I got, you'll be fine. Which is good. For a second, I thought you were another victim of whatever this is. In any case, I think we need to work together. You know what they say about two heads, right? Your guess is as good as mine. This doesn't look like Paradiso, though, if that's what you're asking. So we're doing the whole pleasantries bit even here, huh? Well, name's Ava. Nice to meet you.
So now you have the basics of this situation. I met a new NPC, and we are going to work together. Surviving in this environment was more challenging than a normal scenario. As you might have seen in the upper right-hand corner of the screen, I am getting all of my gear removed from my character. And there are no conventional companions with me. I did still have a Crimson Fleet pirate as a companion. I had added her to my party using the Multi-Tool Axe mod. Unfortunately, without having the Multi-Tool Axe in my inventory, I was not able to interact with my odd pirate companion. For example, if I'd been able to interact with her, I could have equipped her with my gear prior to transport, and then taken it all back after arriving in the escape room. And that was not possible. So, you can see here, the goal of this mod is to escape. There were a series of rooms, each with unique characteristics. There was a minimum amount of combat, which I appreciated. However, this is still a very dangerous environment. Although it's possible to complete the challenges at a low character level, I recommend having a higher level character for this mod. With a higher level, you have more health points, That will help you survive if you're like me and don't immediately recognize what to do when things go south. This was my second playthrough of this creation. I decided to try it again for two reasons. First, I didn't publish a proper review video after my first playthrough. Second, I missed a ton of content the first time around. Basically, if you make a different choice at the apparent end of the creation, you'll unlock a lot more material. What? I'll show you how to accomplish that in the spoilers section, along with what I found. Although I had enjoyed the creation before that new content, I really liked the new material that I found. Next, warnings. I didn't have any technical issues with this creation. I have a few suggestions for getting the most out of the experience, though. First, I recommend unequipping all of your gear while still on your own spaceship. Although I did get all of my gear back after completing the challenges, I was a little worried about losing items. Just give your gear to a companion or put it in your ship's cargo before docking with the Mammon. Second, pay attention to your surroundings. Almost everything is useful in these escape rooms. For example, you'll find slates left behind by someone named Clara Anglin. Pay attention to everything she says, even if it's something simple like follow the arrows. I found that just remembering to heed that advice helped me with the challenges. I'll include footage of solutions for some of these in my spoilers section. Next, conclusion. Is this creation worth 500 credits? It only took me about an hour to complete the challenges, but that was without the bonus content. The extra material probably adds 10 to 30 more minutes, depending on how fast you handle what comes next. There are no repeatable activities, and loot is minimal. I played this with the character I use for testing, which means I treat the results as not being permanent. Escape is sort of like an RPG one-shot. In some ways, there's not really that much in it that is specific to Starfield. I liked how this creation did not rely on combat to solve the challenges. There is combat needed in some cases, but it's not about clearing rooms in order to find a key to open a door. I think it would be more attractive to purchase this on sale, so keep an eye on the store if you think this looks fun. Stay tuned for the spoilers to see how I solve the challenges at certain key moments. Thank you, Bethesda Game Studios, for your work. And thank you to all my subscribers. Please consider subscribing to show YouTube that you enjoy positive and honest Starfield content. Special thanks to all channel members. I hope you're enjoying our private Discord server. If you'd like to know more about membership, click the join button on the channel. There's no obligation. I use your contributions to pay for drives for capturing footage and to buy creations, like this one, to review. What have you been doing in Starfield? Your insights make this channel a place for positive and honest discussion of the game. In addition to videos, I also post to the community tab for this channel on a daily basis. If you subscribe, you'll see these posts in your YouTube feed. If you made it to this part of the video, please leave a comment with the word dirt. And if you've played this one, you'll know why I say dirt. Or just pay attention to the the content. Everyone looks dirty. Also, remember to ring the bell icon and select all notifications. Check out my other videos, and please tell your friends about the channel. Now, we will do some bonus gameplay spoilers. And here you can see I just inserted 2 power cells for this room. Now I have to figure out how to get out of here.
Perfect. I know just where to put this.
And part of getting out of this place is sharing with Ava, so don't feel badly about that. I had to figure out how to open this door, and that meant clicking these switches. So I'll show you what I do to try to get that to work.
Okay, so we got power going to the fans. Now we have to figure out how to get them all on at once. This is just a wild guess, but try fiddling with the console on the platform.
Thanks, Ava. Great advice. Fiddling with the console. I literally did just fiddle with this. Partly I'm documenting this, so if in case I play it again, I'll just be able to go back to this and know what I hit in what sequence.
Fans are all on, both in your room and in mine. We're almost out of here.
Or I don't even know how that worked. I just clicked buttons and thankfully it worked.
The lights started pulsing when you hit that switch. I wonder if that's a clue.
And again, I'm just going to guess on these two. Maybe I have some subconscious memory of what worked the first time I played this, but honestly, I think I just got lucky.
Phase completed. Please proceed through the exit door to begin the next phase of the experiment.
Yes! I don't know what you did, but it looks like we can get out of here. Don't know where that door goes, but hopefully we can still communicate. There's an intercom here in my room. I've been yelling into it for a while now, but no response. Maybe it's somewhere on the other side of that door? Then we'll be in touch.
I really like the person who they hired to do the voice acting for Ava. I think she was great. Now we're going to make our way into the next room. And I'm not going to show everything with this mod. This isn't a full walkthrough. I'm just going to show the parts. Oh, here we go.
All doors have been sealed. For your safety, please equip a spacesuit and restart ventilation.
Yeah, I'm trying to break in there. That's not going to work. Just open the mannequin, dude.
Warning. An obstruction on the ceiling is preventing ventilation doors from opening. Please remove the obstruction and try again.
This is a good example of if you didn't have a lot of health to begin with, you would have gone into this room and died pretty quickly. So thankfully I had a lot of health with this character. This is pretty clever. I like these kinds of mechanics and creations. And this was the first time I had used a melee weapon to break rocks. Usually I just shoot them, so I was glad that that worked. Of course, I'm not too bright here. If I needed to break rocks away, I probably need to get back up there. I got to figure out a way to get up there, and finally I realized, oh yeah, turn the gravity off again. Oh, that wasn't good. Sprained something. Oh, and I just heard someone named Red coughing. So we'll check out the Project Mammon computer. This was an area where I built upon what I had learned the first time I played it. There are some turrets that you can activate that will help Ava cross through a corridor. And I figured that if I had a weapon of my own and Ava had the turrets working on her behalf, that was probably a good combination for us to both survive this scenario. So that's why I set up the turrets to attack foes. And here's why I encounter Red.
Stay away from me. Yeah? Better that way. That other guy, he helped too. Until he got...
I found some kind of food in a previous room. It wasn't hard to find, that's why I didn't show it.
Fine.
But I gave it to Red, and
But this doesn't mean
again, I
trust
think
you.
I was building on what I remembered
may
the
have got
last
the O2
time.
running,
But if you
but I
give
don't know
Red
you.
a gift like this, he will give you something back in return, which we'll see here. And that's that sculpture. And it took me a while to figure out the sculpture, so we'll get back to that in a second. Here, though, is a mirror that was pointed to by a slate that you'll find, and you'll see that there's a pattern there of right, up, left, down. And I recognize that there were switches over here, so we're going to try to hit those, and we'll see what it does. And I thought that was going to open the door, but it didn't. It didn't open the door. What it did, though, was open up a little container over to the right that has some goodies that you might be able to use. So grab those from there. However, to open up the door, I had to pay attention to the light flashing pattern here that appears when you click on that object. So what it's doing is it's pointing to what to hit first, second. Yeah. So this took me a while to figure out as well. I played it several times. So now I'm going to try to use what I learned to open up the door by clicking the right sequence of buttons. And we'll see that it's 1, 3, 4, 2. And then click.
Phase completed. Please proceed through the exit door begin the next phase.
And now we're in one of my favorite parts of this creation. This is a puzzle room that has several puzzles. And the first thing you have to do in here is you have to smash this container. Fortunately, Ava stands too close and you end up hitting her, but she doesn't get too upset. Then you have to grab that key card. And once you have the key card, you have to solve each of these 4 puzzles. And the first puzzle is, or the first puzzle that I chose to solve here, was simply choosing the atomic number of gold, which is 79. And then I came over here to this golden ratio. And the golden ratio is on a slate that you first find, and you share it with Ava. And she reminds you what it is of. There we go, 1.618. So you just cycle through the buttons to get 1618 on the display. And then this one is kind of weird. This is the golden number. I had never heard of this before, but I had to do a little bit of math to figure out what the correct answer would be. And we'll see what I ended up using here. I think it was 13. Yeah, 13 is the correct answer for that puzzle. And then finally, this might have been the easiest one. As soon as I saw it on the chalkboard, or excuse me, the whiteboard back there, I knew what the answer was. This is just putting in the right next number in the Fibonacci sequence, which is 610.
So, he still had to eat. Maybe he cooked up some spaghetti one day and realized it was his true calling. What about these numbers on the whiteboard? Looks like
Yeah,
we just
Ava,
need
we
to
already
figure
figured that
what
out.
comes
Now I
after
just have to press
377.
this button.
You unlocked it. Time to see what's inside.
Make sure it doesn't bite your hand off.
And that score up there, well, that huge number, that's a score.
Such a buzzkill.
We'll go grab the items.
That just looks
And
like plain old gold.
you now have to make a decision as to what you're going to do with the items that you grabbed. I'm not going to show that. That's kind of a fun thing that you can decide on your own. We'll just progress to the next part of the creation where there is a choice to be
Last
made.
time I checked, it wasn't up to you.
At the end of the day, only 2 of us can go through that door, right? We get rid of him, we split the creds, and get the out of here. And in the process, we get revenge on one of the people responsible for putting us here in the first place.
So this is the way you unlock the extra content.
Wait, what? Why would you do that? You don't get it. One of us needs to die, on camera. I know that, and that's part of the reason I don't want you to be the one who stays. But if that's what you want, so be it. And I guess if they let it happen, they have whatever they need to buy our silence. All right, I'm standing down. You hear that? They're staying, we're leaving, and I'm taking the money. Guess we're walking out of here. No hard feelings, kid.
Man, I'm done with all your.
Fair enough. I guess all that's left to do now is take our credits and walk out that door.
And this is where you could introduce some variety into the gameplay too.
Yeah, I'll try. But no promises. I think it's time for a long vacation. What do you think? Paradiso? Maybe I'll invite Red, if he manages to keep his mouth shut.
Thanks. Guess I owe you one. I wasn't planning on taking their way out. Nah, that would just put more heat on you. Anyway, while I may be leaving, I'm not taking their creds.
All right, now I'm going to show you the easiest way to escape now that you've sacrificed yourself.
I hope you know what you're doing. Best of luck.
Yeah, you just come over here to the intercom,
Congratulations on completing Project Mammon.
and that's it.
You will now begin the transfer process. Your belongings will be returned to you at the end of the trip. Thank you for your participation.
Now, that's it. If you want to just sacrifice yourself so that no one has to perish in order to complete the journey, that's all you have to do. And it takes a moment here. The game goes through its loading screen and you start to get your possessions back as soon as you have phased back into your original ship. Yeah, now I'm getting my gear back. That's all it takes. What I'm going to show you next is the way to unlock the bonus content. So here I've already taken one of the gifts, and I think I had to read this online. So I have this Mammon's gift. What I'm going to do is drop it on the floor, and then I'm going to pull out my rescue axe and I'm going to smash it. And when you do that, you find a key, the employee number 4 key card. And with this key, we can do all sorts of fun stuff. When you're playing this creation, you'll find these doors that are locked and they say they'll only be opened by the employee number 4 key card. Well, now we have it. You have to be careful when you run through here so you don't get buzzed by those devices. So I'm going to come on over here and I'm going to take a look at this computer, and I can disable fans and gravity. And to tell you the truth, I don't think I needed to do that at this point. I think I should have waited, but there's no real downside to doing this. What you have to do, though, is go into the room with the junk, and you have to check out this cabinet. If I can get down there. But open that thing up. It opens up with the employee number 4 keycard, and you need the cutter that is inside. So now we're going to float back through, and I think I'm probably going to get buzzed again. Yeah, I took a little bit of damage. And now, because the gravity is off, it becomes easy to go down here and open up. You did need to smash the rocks that were controlling, or I should say blocking, the handle that opened up that door to go downstairs. But that's pretty easy, you'll see that. So what we're using the cutter for now is to break down this emergency door. Yep, watch out there, Crimson Fleet. And once you do that, we'll flip this switch.
Warning. Unauthorized entry detected. All staff on full alert.
This is where all the cool stuff is. So this is the extra content. And once you go in here, you've got your cutter, and there's all these doors, and we'll try opening up one of these. Oh! Scientists!
I got this.
And this is where having my extra companion helps. My companion's already got their native weapons, but you've got the cutter, so you could use it to good effect. And there's combustible containers in there that explode when you hit them with the cutter. So we're going to run in here. We're going to check out what's inside. I think there might still be a scientist in here, or maybe in another room. So this is where you just start grabbing everything, because remember, in this creation, you don't have stuff. You lose everything. So now I'm going to take a look at one of the computers, and the computer will give you some information about what's going on in Project Mammon. And you can see that they're making a lot of money, hence the name. Now we'll go to room 001 and we'll find out who's behind all of this.
I've been waiting for you for a long time, my dear. And let me say, what a show you provided the stakeholders. But given your history, it's hardly a surprise. A photographic recording of a light field, or in layman's terms, a hologram. I had to take some precautions in the event you made it this far, but I couldn't pass up the chance to speak with you either. Is that a rhetorical question? I trust you know the nature of this study by now, and yet you wish to hear me confirm it. Interesting. Still, no one could have predicted you'd make it this far. That, my child, is a testament to your perseverance, character, and history. A former military star station abandoned after the armistice. It was later purchased by one of our benefactors for use in this study. I venture it's as good a place as any for this kind of theatre. What we're doing here is fringe science at best. Oh, don't be so modest. In truth, many were against allowing you to participate. Statistically, you're an outlier. Any data gathered on you isn't really applicable to the average settler. And by reaching this office, you've proved yourself to be one. And you are speaking to her now. Although no endeavor like this is ever done alone. If you don't mind telling me, having survived it, what did you think? How do you feel? You might find this surprising, but I actually agree. And yet, maybe that makes me more self-aware than anything. You know, it didn't start this way. With the bodies and such. We began as a few humble scientists trying to change the world. Humble and naive. Because to truly make a difference in any endeavor, you need financial backing. Oftentimes from irreputable sources. Soon thereafter is when the suggestions started coming in. And of course you have to listen, because without them, we are all unemployed. I understand your feelings, but it's not so black and white, is it? There are other projects besides Mammon after all. Projects that saved lives. But yes, my dear, I'm not going to insult your intelligence and tell you this was done purely for scientific reasons. You'd see right through such a transparent lie. As I've made clear, my motivations were far more basic. I did it for the money. The question now is what you do from here. I did not. I'm not sure if it was an angry staff member or the stakeholders themselves. We should have caught it with Clara, but that one had a way of evading our cameras. But rest assured, it is something that will be rectified in future iterations. I understand, which is why I'm unable to meet you in person. In any event, while I am left with questions, I believe you have all your answers. At least all that I'm willing to divulge. You will find your belongings in the docking bay, as well as a ship you can commandeer. Goodbye, my child. Remember that you always have a choice. I trust you'll make the right ones.
Ooh, Genevieve is a bad one. Let's listen to some of the slates on her desk.
So, what's your reason for wanting to participate in this study?
Easy. I heard the money's good. Real good. I've got some PTO coming up, and it seems like it'd be more lucrative than taking another contract job.
And why do you think money is so important to you?
I don't know. I'd say money is important to everyone. But, in my case, I'd say because we didn't always have it. Growing up in the well, having all of New Atlantis on top of you, it changes how you live.
But you have money now. You're successful. Why lie about it to your friends?
Well, that's why I'm here, Doctor. Why do I do it?
I believe you have what's called a scarcity complex. In your mind, basic resources, credits, time, love are finite. It's what makes you hoard one and disregard the other.
You got me, Doctor. Dead to rights. So what's the verdict? Am I in?
I think you'll be an ideal candidate for this study. But I also think it may help you understand yourself. So, what made you take an interest in what we're doing here?
Look, I was just fixing the pipes. I noticed the false panel in the back, and that's how I found this room.
You like to do that, don't you? Poke around.
I'm a tinkerer, yeah.
And curious. That's something we value highly in this study.
Hey, I don't know what all this is or what you're doing here. I'm here to do maintenance on the station. Just let me do my job, and I'll be out of your hair.
I'm afraid that's not possible. Your contract is very explicit. But not to worry. I think we can find an alternative solution.
So it sounds like Ava was a willing participant and Red was not. Oh, great acting, great voice acting. So once we go into this docking port area, you'll find a way to get off the ship. And there's some loot here, some minor things you can pick up, but nothing too great. The gun that was in Ava's room is probably the most interesting thing. It's funny they did have a military crate like you would find at the end of lots of other quests. That docking bay is closed. So we'll go ahead and open this docking bay with the key card that we still have, and we'll check out the ship inside and see if it's any good. Oh, actually, there's all my stuff. At first I was looking at it like, oh my god, what are all these legendaries doing in here? Well, that's all my stuff actually that I used with this test character. So that is it. That is the way to get the extra content when you're playing Escape. I really think that that was pretty fun. Let me know what you think in a comment. There's other content here. For example, you could pit the two characters against each other. I didn't show that here because it basically just doesn't give you access to the extra content. Although I guess it might if you break your gift and then look inside, you can get access to it. But I think this is probably the best way to play through it if you're sort of the same temperament as me. Anyway, my name is Richard, and I hope you enjoyed this. I will see you in the Starfield.